5 matchups that I think everyone needs to watch or at least keep their eye on with week 2, because these games are going to be absolutely crazy, and we're going to get into the obvious to start it off. The obvious matchup that everyone should be watching, should be tuned in on, should be keeping tabs on is Michigan versus Oklahoma, because this one is going to be a great matchup. College game day, week 2, Bryce Underwood's second ever start with Michigan, and he is being thrown under bright lights. They're going to be playing in Norman, Oklahoma, and the freshman is going to be asked to step up big time for this Shamar Moore team and the Wolverines. And then on the flip side of that, Oklahoma, a team that played very, very well in week 1, a team that I'm very excited about this whole stretch of the season. They got John Mateer, and that's all you need to tell me. He is a great quarterback, very elusive, makes plays, absolute stud, and I don't care if he has parlays in on Saturday, but he is going to ball out because I'm going to have parlays in on Saturday, and he's going to be on them. So whether he decides to put one in or not, he can Venmo me if he wants. But I got John Mateer playing an absolute great game against Michigan. This is going to be a showdown if it goes down the way that we think it can. John Mateer, that Sooner squad is going to be elevated by playing at home, game day. That environment is just going to keep feeding and feeding and feeding on campus. You're going to feel the energy in this matchup. 2 blue blood historic college football programs, a freshman at quarterback for one, a stud transfer at quarterback for the other. It's going to be a showdown. I'm so excited to see this matchup. It's going to be a hype matchup at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and I cannot wait to see this matchup take place. So that's why for my first game you need to watch, it is Michigan versus Oklahoma. And now my second matchup, you might not see this one coming. It's Florida UCF. UCF. It's Florida USF, University of South Florida, not Central, because I'll tell you why. Byrum Brown for this USF squad is a unit. We were just talking about him in the last segment, the way he seeks contact, the way he runs guys over, the way he is not your traditional quarterback. If he sees something he likes on a read option, on an RPO, he's pulling it himself, he's taking it, he's lowering his shoulder at the D line. This kid is a freak of nature. He is an athlete. He makes plays. He extends plays. He has an arm. He might overshoot at times, but he still gets the ball down there. He gives his receivers a chance to make a play on the ball. He drops it in the breadbasket, and he just overall extends plays. He is a receiver that he connects with that I am very, very high on, and USF is a team to keep in mind. And all that being said, they play week 2 against Florida, the number 13 team in the country, the team that has DJ Lagway, one of the best sophomores in the country. He's in a very talented sophomore pool, but he is playing like an absolute dog. They absolutely walked over the Long Island Sharks, and now they're trying to do the same to the Bulls. But I don't know if they're going to. It's going to be a great matchup, back and forth. DJ Lagway, I mean, there's just 2 great quarterbacks in this matchup. It's much like we saw in that Notre Dame-Miami game with Carson Beck and CJ Carr. Byrum Brown and DJ Lagway are about to battle it out. Byrum's the more experienced one of them too. He's coming off injury from last year, so he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. DJ Lagway is trying to solidify his starting job. He's a solidified starter. Let me rephrase this. He wants to solidify his love and the people around him in Tallahassee. He wants Florida to be great, and they are going to be in an absolute shootout and play a wonderful game come Saturday. That's why I have USF versus Florida as the second game that you need to keep your eye on. For the third one, I have Vanderbilt versus Virginia Tech. Kyron Drones and this Tech team is coming off a brutal loss to South Carolina to open up their season. They're 0-1. They just lost again to that Lenore Sellers-led Gamecock squad. I'm high on Kyron Drones. He missed a lot of throws that could have potentially helped them lead a comeback in that game. He was on the run a lot, just missing targets. You need to slow down, settle into your throw, step into it, get it to your guys. Aiden Green, receiver for this Virginia Tech squad, is a unit. He is a dog. If you get him the ball, he can make plays after the catch. He can extend, and he can just do crazy things when he has the rock in his hand. So I just believe you got to settle in, get your run game established, get Aiden Green going, get the ball in your guys' hands, and continue to play solid football. And on the flip side of that, Diego Pavia and this Vanderbilt team were upset machines last season. They were beating team after team. The Commodores are legit. They want to go into this season and prove that they are not just a one-off from last year. They want to go into this and prove that they can hang with everybody they play, and they can actually play against solid competition such as Kyron Drones and Virginia Tech. They're in the SEC. They've been the doormat of that conference for however long. They're trying to flip that narrative. They're trying to rewrite their history, and they're doing that against a team that just lost to the Heisman one of the Heisman frontrunners in Lenore Sellers, so they are trying to get one back. Because if you go 0-2 in the ACC to start off the season in non-conference play, it's going to be impossible to dig yourself out of that hole. Not impossible, but nearly impossible to dig yourself out of that hole. Kyron Drones does not want that for his Hokie squad, and Diego Pavia wants it more than anything. He is a competitor. He's a fierce guy. You speak of Byron Brown running over defenders. He's not nearly as tall, but he sure is as aggressive. He'll sure go right through you just like Byron Brown. These are two teams fighting for contention, fighting to prove themselves as programs and not get buried into the hole. So watch this matchup. It has implications, and this is going to be a game that's going to be very well played, and I expect to see two great quarterbacks going at it, and it's going to be much-watch college football. The fourth matchup, I'm going a different route with this. This has nothing to do with Charlotte, so if you see them on your screen and you ask yourself why, this is why. North Carolina just got, I don't even have an adjective to describe what just happened to them. We heard the commentators say they got the boot to their backside. That's a nice way to put it. 48-14, one of those touchdowns coming in garbage time. Max Johnson, great story there, by the way. Max Johnson to his twin brother for the touchdown, but nonetheless, they got cakewalked by TCU. This matchup right here, I'm comparing it to last season when Florida State dropped their opener to Georgia Tech, and everyone was like, okay, they just lost their first matchup. That wasn't supposed to happen. And then they went out again and they lost and they lost. They lost to Memphis. They lost to other schools. This is the situation that North Carolina is in. If they lose this matchup to Charlotte, they are done. They are in the dirt. And we know that panic meter is through the roof. Bill Belichick experiment did not work. This is a staple game, a ruler game to see where your program is at. If they lose this game to Charlotte or they play it any closer than it needs to be, they are in deep trouble, and we know where this team stands. That is why I have it as the fourth game that you need to keep an eye on, you need to track, you need to keep tabs on this upcoming college football week, because if North Carolina cannot get over the small hurdle that is Charlotte, they have much darker games coming on their horizon. So keep an eye on this. It's a ruler game for North Carolina, and we need to see just where this Tar Heel squad is if we didn't get shown that already against TCU last night. All right, the fifth and final game, UCLA versus UNLV. It's kind of similar to the North Carolina situation in terms of UCLA. Even though they're favored in this matchup, they just got cakewalked themselves against a very good Utah team that's coming to make noise in the Big 12. UCLA, not so much. Nico Iamaleava, starting quarterback for this squad, got brutally contested against Utah, and UNLV is a team that's 2-0 to start the season. Dan Mullen and a heckload of transfers on that Las Vegas squad. Los Angeles versus Las Vegas. It's going to be a great game. UCLA is favored, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if UNLV comes out on top of this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if they controlled the game for the majority of it. I'm a big Dan Mullen guy. I love this squad. I think that UNLV has a big chance to make some noise, and they can do that by proving themselves, starting off the season 3-0 and walking over UCLA and a squad that has a former 5-star quarterback at the helm. If UNLV can get through UCLA and again use this as their ruler game, much as North Carolina is against Charlotte, then they prove to a lot of people their true identity and what they're truly here to do in the college football landscape come 2025. So UNLV versus UCLA, another big ruler game for both programs. One, for UNLV to be able to match up their true legitimacy and check that 3-0 record, or for UCLA to be able to say Nico still has some game in him and we're not going to get walked over every single week. A big game for both sides. I'm excited to see who's going to prove themselves, who's going to step up to this plate, and who is going to be good for their squad when game time comes. Those are the 5 games that I have for you to keep your eye on and to bookmark in your mind when you're watching college football or just tracking it this Saturday. Again, I'll go over it's Michigan versus Oklahoma, it's USF versus Florida, it's Vanderbilt versus Virginia Tech, it's North Carolina versus Charlotte, and it's UCLA versus UNLV, the 5 games that you need to keep bookmarked. And obviously, if you're a fan of another team, you're going to go watch their game, obviously. But keep in mind those 5 games, track them, read them, analyze them, use them to your advantage. Those are the 5 games I have for you to watch this 2025 Week 2